Hello, everybody. I'm Jaret Reddick, and this is a podcast. Jaret Goes to the Movies. Hopefully you have seen or heard one of my many musical endeavors. And if you have, then you know how much I love movies. This is movie commentary with no movie knowledge. This podcast is me and my friend Rich talking about movies that we like. But my name's on it because I'm famous. This is Jaret Goes to the Movies. Still. Okay, we're starting now.
Most likely, sir. I'll bet it was something nice, though.
That was me stumbling around on my mic. We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
We're back.
Well, we really never were gone anywhere as far as you're concerned. My name is Jaret. This is Jaret Goes to the Movie. This is Jaret Goes to the Boobies. And with me, as always, is my friend Richard.
You're not going to redo that.
There he is. Hell no, I'm not going to redo it.
Jesus.
Remember, I'm editing this one.
Off the rails.
All right, here we go. And of course, the beautiful Casey in her PJs this evening.
Hello.
And so I'm fresh back from the United Kingdom tour, and you know, as I don't really know if it came up during the podcast that played while I was gone, but we had gotten ourselves ahead so that we wouldn't miss any weeks while I was on the road.
We did.
And Rich did a great job of editing them and keeping them coming out, and while still maintaining his very, very busy television and dating life. And he made himself a man cave in his room while I was gone, didn't you? Was that what you would consider it? Is there like a beer light?
Just a seating area.
Seating area in your room?
You're talking about my media
It's a
room.
waiting area.
Yeah, I put two chairs in front of my 70-inch TV. Yeah,
in your room?
But it's like a super long bedroom.
Right.
So it's two rooms, basically.
It's two rooms.
And I had nothing in front of my... That's why I had to have a 70-inch TV so that I could see it from my bed, because otherwise you can't see it. And so that's why it's 70-inch. So there's this giant space in front of the TV that I put two, not reclining chairs, but chair and ottomans.
A couple magazines, tasteful videos, just a waiting area while he prepares himself.
I get it.
Waiting area.
Sure.
Oh,
Right.
God.
I like it.
Oh, no.
It is. That does seem a little bit more comfortable, though, to invite girls up from the living room to the 70-inch TV, though, and it's not just a bed.
Right.
You know, so it's more of
it's less awkward.
It's actually one more additional line that you can add, because it's like, hey, do you want to go up and watch this in my room? Why would I do that? Well, there's a 70-inch up there. Yeah, but I don't know, your room? Oh, no, it's cool.
I just say the media room.
I have chairs.
And then
You should get a
when they
Keurig.
come into the media room, they're like, well, there's a bed in your media room. Oh,
Yeah.
well,
Home
that's-
living
it's
magazines.
also
I feel like
my
that's what
bedroom.
David Letterman used to say to the interns, too. Like, hey, come in here into the media room. They're like, this is a bed.
David Letterman, that's so topical. Is he even on the TV anymore?
Well, he just happens to be the greatest night show host of all time. So.
He's also Sigma Chi. Which
I'm
I
almost
am.
thinking it's like less weird to like invite somebody to your bedroom to watch TV than to the media room with the bed.
You think?
Totally agree. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's weird.
Super weird. Guys, it's great to be back. It really is. I'm a little bit under the weather. Those of you who used to listen to my other podcast will be specially enlightened by this, because I used to only podcast when I was sick back in the day.
Really?
And so like I would tweet out, "Hey, I'm getting a cold," and literally everybody would be like, "It must be time for a podcast." And sure enough, I'd find the time. So I am feeling a little bit under the weather and a bit knackered, as they say in the United Kingdom, but I'm glad to be back. Those of you who came out to the shows on the Bowling for Soup tour, it was a blast, and I'm very happy to be home. Richard, I really did miss you a bunch.
Did you?
I did.
Missed you
I
too.
missed you a whole bunch. And why do you keep pressing that thing?
It's just, I don't have it plugged in.
Oh, I see. So I get home, and I'm a little bit late to the podcast tonight, even though it's in my own home, because my son played basketball tonight. It was the final game of the season, and didn't quite know when it would end. And so I come in, and Rich has gotten new everything, and so we're gonna get in here, and we're gonna just start the podcast. And he's got a new microphone, and it's not a computer anymore. It's this little cute little iPad looking thing.
It's a Surface.
It's a Surface, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really feel like you need the rolling desk anymore for that thing. Like, I feel like you could just have it in your lap.
Just put it in my lap.
Just carry it around, Like,
That's probably true. I could probably sit over there.
We could get you a fucking Palm Pilot. It'd be great. You could just fucking podcast with a Palm Pilot.
I had a Palm Pilot.
It's the Palm Pilot podcast. Da 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 doo doo. Dee dee doo dee dee. La 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 lo. All right, it's the Ace Ventura podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Man, did I have fun watching this one. I'm gonna be honest. I limped in because I didn't remember it being as fucking good as it is.
This was my favorite movie when it came out. It was Fletch was my favorite movie for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And then this came out, and this was my favorite movie for, I'm probably almost a decade as far as comedies are concerned.
Yeah.
But I have grown to detest Jim Carrey. I can't stand him now.
Oh, no.
I almost asked you to change it because I was like, I'm not going to like it because I hate Jim Carrey. I hate his shtick. It's so old. He does the same thing in every fucking movie. And I was so tickled watching this movie. I giggled. Trying not to because I can't stand Jim Carrey. I couldn't help myself. It was so fucking funny.
I was laying on the couch with Casey and I was completely miserable. I mean, like really, really, really sick yesterday when I was watching it and just felt terrible. And it did take me, a few minutes to really kind of get into it. And then I did the exact same thing. I giggled through the whole thing. And then I started realizing, okay, I actually know the line that's coming up next. And then there's this. But this wasn't one of the ones that when I say we, by this time, we're in Bowling for Soup land.
Uh-huh.
So any movie I was watching over and over was something that we were watching as a band over and over and over again. So we had certain ones. And our big go-to one during... I guess this phase of him was definitely Dumb and Dumber. We watched that over and over and over again.
I think this movie is so much better than Dumb and Dumber's funny. Yeah. I mean, you have to give it. It has a lot of funny. Between the funny parts in Dumb and Dumber, I just remember always being super bored for at least 5 or 10 minutes, and then there'd be an amazing part that is iconic, but then 10 minutes would roll by, and I'm just like. Bored to tears. This one I was just constantly giggling, laughing. I do feel
like this one is giggle, laugh. It's funny the whole way through. This is definitely an area where we will disagree. I think Dumb and Dumber, even during the serious parts, I'm laughing because there's something going on in every single scene that's
it's not terrible. Hilarious. I'm not trying to say it's terrible.
Fucking hilarious. This so definitely my favorite. A lot of quotes in both, man. A lot of things that I think I say that we all say. I mean, this one they come out right off the top, with the alrighty then, and that I mean, God, how rampant is that? That's still a thing to this day. People say that.
I did that forever.
You hear it all the time still, So I found the opening scene. I remember him kind of walking up and having the box or whatever, but I didn't remember where it was going. I didn't remember that he was rescuing the dog that he's talking to or anything.
I did forget that too.
That was a nice little surprise for me and sort of like a good intro.
Because as he's walking up, I'm going, why has he got that stuff shoved in his...
Exactly.
What do you want?
HDS, sir. And how are you this afternoon? All righty then. I have a package for you.
Sounds broken.
Most likely, sir. I'll bet it was something nice, though.
Well, we actually had to watch the intro twice because Casey was talking to me during the scene and then wanted to know if she had missed anything. And I'm like, yeah, I think you just sort of missed the setup to the movie.
He said half the fucking movie, actually. Yeah. That's what he said.
And we were streaming it differently last night. We did the stream it from the iPad onto the Apple TV because we're doing it through Amazon. And so I just ended up having to start the whole thing over anyway. So the second time through, I did notice that I'm like, why is he all padded? Like, what? Why is he? It's like he's wearing a fat suit.
Aren't you glad you had to watch it twice? You got all the details.
But funny that actor that opens up the door is just in everything.
Everything. Yeah. He's great. I love that guy.
So crazy. But what a great opening scene, and even the music to that.
So what is it? HDS.
Yeah, HDS.
If you flip HDS like exactly upside down, it's UPS.
Ah,
if it's
interesting.
Lowercase, yeah. And then the best part is when the first move he does with the box.
Yeah.
Is he tries to do the rainbow.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. Lots of good stuff with the box.
Yeah.
As a prop. And again, being able to watch it this much later and not having seen it for so long, you sort of get that first viewing experience of like, why is he beating up the fucking box again? Like, what's the deal? The box doesn't matter.
Because he needs him to sign the insurance
Exactly.
form. Yeah.
So that's pretty much the setup. Ace Ventura, man, I'm excited to dive into this one. I will say, as I sat there, and watched it. This one is literally, as you would say, quote after quote after quote. There is never, ever a point in the movie that stops, as you said earlier. I mean, it's just one after another. And so as I'm just like, how are you going to fucking pull the quotes on this one? We're gonna have to do it like Mystery Science Theater 2000, right. and just watch it and just react to each line as it comes.
Yeah,
because I either had a story or a follow up or something to every single fucking line in the whole thing. But we'll do our best to narrow it down.
Didn't it feel like this was written for Jim Carrey?
I didn't know that it wasn't actually.
It was written. He wasn't even supposed to be a pet detective first. He was supposed to be a bumbling detective.
Okay.
And Rick Moranis was the first. Offered the role.
Okay.
So, and then obviously that worked out. It didn't work out. And then Judd Nelson and Alan Rickman.
Oh, no.
And Whoopi Goldberg were also considered.
Isn't that interesting how things happen like that, though? You know, it's funny because there's so many people. It's like, I think we talked about this on Star Wars where like so many other people were considered for Han Solo, you know, and it just, you just wonder.
It was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah.
Oh, is that what we were talking? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you wonder, what would that character be today? There's no way this movie does anything like what it did without Jim Carrey in this. This is the fucking Jim Carrey show.
Or was it the movie that turned Rick Moranis' career around? Who knows?
I don't know, because I feel like when you get into that whole silly bumbling detective thing, it's not like, you know, remaking the Pink Panther redid Steve Martin.
This movie was just so different than most other comedies. I mean, it was so outlandish, so over the top.
Yeah. Well, it was cartoony. You know, he plays and as you said, you know, obviously he played The Mask and he's played this. He has that ability to be a cartoon with his actions, with his facial expressions, and with his body. I mean, there's just anything, the things that Jim Carrey can do just with his arms and his legs is fucking crazy.
He modeled everything after a bird. So his hair, his movements, all the movements were bird-like movements.
Yeah.
He actually had dinner with Anthony Hopkins because it's one of his favorite actors, and it talked about Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs.
And he was like, they were talking about that, and Anthony Hopkins modeled his character after a lizard.
Oh, interesting.
So when he does that Chianti and he... all that, that's all a lizard.
What the fuck is going on over there with your volume? And I missed your Chianti.
Yeah.
And some fava beans.
So he modeled it after a bird. So when he's all walking around, it's kind of stork-like or crane-like.
How can I ever repay you?
Well, the reward would be good. There is some damage to my car. It's a high-performance machine, so I had to fill it with premium.
Would you like for me to take your pants off instead?
Gee, let me think. Sure.
When you posted that we were doing this movie, Casey's mom put down on the Facebook that she had taken Casey and her brother to see this.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler was supposed to join us tonight, but to see this as children and thought it was a children's movie and was just so uncomfortable.
How old were you?
I actually saw this movie. Let's see, this came out in 94, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what we actually figured out was me and my brother had watched this movie a couple times with my uncle. So when Nature Calls came out and my mom took us to see it, so I had to have been like 5.
Wow.
And she thought it was a kid's movie. He's a pet detective.
Pet detective. It does seem like it. Well, when I read that, I was like, man, I don't remember this being like too bad. I mean, you know, I don't really remember anything. And then when this scene happens, I was like, oh yeah, this must be.
But me being 5 wasn't the problem. It was Tyler being almost 9 that was the problem.
No, I get it.
I had no idea what was going on.
Of course.
I'm like, hey, why is he swinging from that door? That's weird.
That's super fun. Oh, she's trying to get his pants off. That's super fun. They're gonna swim.
They're gonna go swimming.
Something great will happen after she gets those pants off.
They'll probably take a bath.
Something together. No, separately. Because
or whichever.
Either way.
It's fine if they're friends, like, you know.
Ace Ventura, pet detective. A goofy detective specializing in animals goes in search of a missing dolphin mascot of a football team. It was directed by Tom Shadyac, written by Jack Bernstein. Or is it Bernstein? It's the Bernstein Bears. Obviously starring Jim Carrey, Courtney Cox, and Sean Young.
Shadyac? his last name is where they got Shady Acres for the mental institution.
Holy shit.
Fun fact.
Super fun.
Super fun.
That's good to know. I got to talk about this early on. Yeah, maybe I don't. Maybe I'll wait for her first quote before I give you my review of Sean Young's performance in this movie.
Fucking terrible.
The worst.
The worst.
The worst performance by any actress in the history of Hollywood.
It's
ever
10 times worse than Thomas Hayden Church or whatever his name is.
It's the worst acting that I've ever seen in my life.
At the end, when she's trying to act all like she's skitzing out.
That's what I was going, what is she doing, Casey?
Yeah. She was having a
breakdown.
What is
she doing? Apparently she's having a break. I'm just like,
sorry.
Just get to the point, Ventura. It was just so
horrible.
Uncomfortable.
Oh my God. I mean,
it's like that lady from freaking.
What do you know about pressure? And it's just it's terrible.
But she's supposed to be
woman
crazy.
wanted to play Catwoman, and do you remember that whole thing?
That's okay. Most of the Catwomen have been shitty actresses.
She had a whole
anyway.
thing about her though in Hollywood
Early
for a
on.
long time. I mean, she was in Young Doctors in Love. Do you remember that movie?
No, I never
Dr.
saw it.
Pepper. Dr. Pepper, please come to the front office. It's a great fucking movie, by
Never
the way.
seen it.
Very slapsticky sort of airplane, but a doctor's movie. Jesus Christ, I do not remember her being this terrible in anything.
Every single line was awful.
Fucking horrible. I can't even believe that the director would even let it go. I mean, it's not even awful bad. Like, Tone Loc should have got an Oscar compared to her in this.
Seriously.
I mean, and
seriously.
Fucking crazy bad. Dan Marino was actually better than her. And his deal was like, you're the detective. Like, he was fucking slipping all over the place. He was having all kinds of trouble with this whole acting thing. And Sean Young's a fucking professional.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God. I'm so glad we agree on that.
What do you think of Courtney Cox?
I think Courtney Cox is great all the time. I thought I just love how her hairstyles are so of the Courtney Cox time.
Right.
You know, it's very sort of, I guess, to me, even more so than Jennifer Aniston. Like, Jennifer Aniston set trends with her hairstyles. Courtney Cox just sort of like has this hairstyle timeline to where she has her Courtney Cox do of that time, and that's just what she looks like. And you know, I was always a Courtney person more than I was a Jennifer Aniston person. Which was your favorite friend, Matt LeBlanc?
Actually, yes.
Joey.
Yeah, I watched
would be Courtney Cox
too. And I watch episodes on Showtime.
Because Courtney Cox's hair pretty much like the Rachel was like what everybody, that was like the trendy hairstyle. Right. And anything that Courtney Cox did was like what her slightly less trendy mom friend would wear on her hair. And that is why Jaret thought she was more attractive. Because he likes the moms.
That's a diss, Jaret, in case you weren't aware.
That's not a diss, that's an observation.
That's a little bit of a diss. But I thought she was great in this. Carrie Ann Moss from The Matrix was an alternate, and so was Téa Leoni for this.
I could see Téa Leoni could have played that for easily. Sure. Yeah, it would have been a little bit different. I mean, I just thought that the way Courtney's reactions to him were, they were sort of believable in the fact that she actually sort of got the cuteness of it all.
Right.
Yeah, she seems sweet. I think she had that.
Yeah, I thought she was perfect.
Téa Leoni would have played it fine. She just has an odd sort of silliness to her delivery and everything, too. So, you know, you might not have gotten the same reaction there from her.
I heard animals in there, Ventura. I heard them again this morning scratching around.
I never bring my work home with me, sir.
Oh, yeah? What's all this pet food for?
Fiber.
I thought he was going to say, like, research. You know, I'm, like, trying to sort of pick out the lines as he was going. Fiber? Of course. I think one of the things about Ace Ventura Pet Detective is, obviously, you have to get into the mode very quickly of how not one single minute of this movie is believable at all.
And
so, because the landlord's not, so again, it's real cartoony.
When he walks by the landlord's window, he like pulls the little palm branch and walks by. Yeah. Do you see where he drops it?
And there's a pile of them. He does it every day. Yeah, and then the door's barely shut, and the loudest whistle in the world happens, and then it sounds like a jungle exploded.
Where do those fuckers poop? Jesus
I thought about the same thing. Well,
there was a doggy door to the bathroom.
There's a doggy door to the freezer.
Fridge.
That's the freezer. That's where the penguins come
the otter was in the toilet.
I thought that was so genius because the penguins come out the doggy door of the freezer.
And when you're looking at the house, you don't ask. You've got a doggy door on your fridge.
Yeah.
That's not a sign you have a pet?
How in the hell do you lose a 500-pound fish? What?
I'm sorry, sir. I was just going to say that it's not a fish. It's a mammal.
Thank you, Miss Jacques Cousteau.
Dawn, she didn't mean anything by that.
I don't give a good goddamn about that fish. Fillet it and fast food it if you want to. All I give a damn about's winning the Super Bowl. My athletes have got to have their heads in the right place. Shit, Roger, you've been in this business a long time. You know how superstitious these players are. I've got a quarterback that puts his socks on backwards, has since high school. I've got a linebacker that has not washed his jockey strap in 2 years because he thinks flies are lucky. Now, I want that fish on that field Super Bowl Sunday. Find the fish or find new jobs.
First of all, professional football players don't do their own laundry. That jock strap 100% got washed. Unless he's like taking it home with him or something. But I mean, mine in 8th grade football did not get washed one single time.
I don't think I've ever worn a jockstrap.
Never? Did you not play sports in school?
No, I always did, but I never wore a jockstrap. I just didn't understand it. It just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, how is this helping me at all?
Well, it basically keeps everything in tight, so there's less of a target, and
it
also
was the whole strap up the ass thing.
It doesn't go up your ass. It goes like around.
I know, but it's still.
You were just putting it on wrong, Rich. That's the problem.
Backwards.
Yeah, the strap up the ass was supposed to cover your dick.
No. It just, I don't know. It was just super I just didn't wear it. I pretended that I wore it.
They didn't check you for it in football and stuff?
It.
Oh,
yeah.
man, they checked us for it. If you didn't have it.
I wasn't playing
football. They checked us for it, too, but she got fired. So.
Yeah.
What?
They
used the word goddamn like 3 times in this Dude, 1 little 2-minute.
I love that clip because that guy is an amazing character actor. I mean, he's probably the best actor in the entire movie, actually.
Actually, the guy sitting next to Courtney Cox
he's really good.
He's in a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
too.
he's really good.
I thought it was a cute exchange. I don't know. Maybe this is like completely irrelevant, but I thought it was cute because like whenever he says something about a 500-pound fish and she's like, it's a mammal. And then later she goes, it's we're looking for a porpoise. He's like, actually, it's a bottlenose. And I just thought it was kind of a cute little connection between them. I don't know.
That's something to put together.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Maybe not.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
When I lost my cuddles, I hired a pet detective.
A what?
A what? I lost my cuddles. A what?
Hi, I'm Melissa Robinson.
Pleasure to meet you.
Did you have any trouble getting in?
No, the guy with the rubber glove was surprisingly gentle.
I will say that at this point, this is kind of the only scene where you can see him like in and out of his scenes or whatever. Like he's playing it so fucking thick that like when it's on, the camera's on her and he's in the side, his expressions are just changing all over the place. So if you watch it, it's just like bing, bing, bing.
So visual.
Yeah. And so he's never making the same face 2 times. So it really does. I imagine that was a really hard scene to edit.
he's watching the TV footage of the trick,
right?
Him kicking the football, and he's eating the sunflower seeds, and when he kicks it through the uprights, he's like, "Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's great."
But
that whole scene made me want to cry.
Do you want an ashtray? He goes, "No thanks, I don't smoke."
That's my next clip.
Oh, I'm sorry. Damn it.
Would you like an ashtray?
I don't smoke. It's a disgusting habit.
He's got
I can't even listen to that. I can't listen to the chomping.
Yeah, she can't stand. So
that was
movie made me cringe.
Casey can't stand if I crunch ice. If the dog has a toy or anything, she can't stand it.
Any unnecessary repetitive noise, especially eating, chewing, drinking.
Basically, just any sort of function you can make.
Just life noises. I don't like them.
We have to turn the music up. We have to only listen to Cannibal Corpse whenever we eat.
Mm-hmm.
And turn it up as loud as we can. And the kids hate it, but we have to do it because she can't stand listening to them eat.
I can't do it or breathe or speak or
right. Yeah, they're not allowed to speak.
Please tell me you're kidding, right?
If their nose is stopped up, they have to eat in their room.
No, but I do hate like
chewing
smacking and chewing.
So he's putting the sunflower seed shells on the desk.
Right.
I eat. I don't know if you've seen my Facebook. You know I like pistachios.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
I hate nuts. I can't stand any nuts, and for some reason I found pistachios last year, and I've fallen in love with them. So I de-shell them and put the shells on my desk. So I have just on my desk, just like he was doing. I just have.
Are you being fucking serious?
Yeah, And so I just have a big pile of shells and all of the shell crumbs and stuff just piled on me. I've taken pictures. They're on Facebook. So my boss comes in and talks to me and leans over my cubicle all the time. And it's driving him crazy. At work. Yeah, at work. So I know it's driving him fucking bonkers that I have this big pile of pistachio shells. Because he's so anal. He's so
bit.
weird.
You're doing a bit, right? Like this, but you're sticking with it. Like you're not
doing it because it's funny, not
you're doing it because it's hilarious that you're putting the shells on there or whatever. Like
I put the shell where I'm also going to put them. I'm not going to take a trip to the trash can every single time I want to throw a shell.
No, but you can have a cup there.
But I'm not going to go get a cup. Where am I going to get a cup?
You don't have a cup.
I'm sitting there. I'm working, and I want a handful of pistachios. I grab them out of the bag. I plop them on the thing. I de-shell one.
You don't have a wastebasket?
It's behind me, and I don't want to have to lean over and put it in the wastebasket.
This Slurpee story is not so bad now, is it?
This is the most fucked up thing I've ever heard. No. If you were doing it as a comedy bit, it's the funniest thing ever.
They make pistachio. Okay, just say you are.
It is a little bit of a fuck you to my boss a bit.
Okay, so I get that. That's funny.
But
they make them without the shells.
But if you bought them de-shelled, you'd eat them by the handful.
Right, and it would just be gone.
It's just gone.
Yeah, and it's too many calories. So I like the fact that I have to take it out of the shell. It slows me down on eating them. So I just eat them as a between meal snack to get my
so that you feel disappointed, like eating crab legs or pomegranate.
Right. Me and Jack on one of the last car trips we took, he sat in front with me. And we were eating pistachios, and we just did a father and son pistachio thing. We had the good ones in one cup, and the shells would go in the other ones, and we're just sitting there talking and eating pistachios back and forth. It was a nice bonding father-son moment, like I'd given his first chew of tobacco, but without all the implications of that.
That is so sweet, but
really sweet.
I'm glad I wasn't in the car.
You were?
Was I?
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't any crunching.
But Cannibal Corpse is on the radio.
There's no crunching involved in it. You guys may have already been car sick and didn't care.
That might have been it.
If I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer.
Oh my God, that's so genius.
It really is. I mean, I will say that there's variances in his characters, though. I mean, let's get back to why you hate him so much. Because I would think you would say that I feel like there's certain actors that are really, really over the top funny, like Robin Williams and Tom Hanks and Jim Carrey. And once they start to do the really, really serious stuff, they can kind of lose you a smidge, and then they try to be funny again. It's not the same.
I was on board for The Truman Show.
I just watched part of that the other day. I'd never seen it before. Casey showed me a little bit of that movie, and I really liked that. I thought it was cool.
The one that everyone raves over is the spotless mind thing.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, I love it. You probably don't, huh?
But
I never watched it.
Eternal Sunshine of Spotless Mind?
Yeah, I never seen it.
You see Man on the Moon?
The best.
Oh, yeah.
So fucking good.
We watched that again recently, and
he is so great.
It's amazing every time.
He transforms into him. It
he
really is
so
good.
great in it. I mean, it's just like a completely...
He should have gotten a nod for that.
I think so, too.
That's just that character in itself. I mean, there's so much complexity just in that human alone to try to master whatever was going on in this dude's crazy head and then try to mimic it
out. And he figured out the eyes.
Oh, it's insane.
It's just and even with those up close shots, you're just like, I just gave myself the chills thinking about it. Because,
it's so weird.
Because I was too young to really. I mean, I knew who Andy Kaufman was because of Fridays and because of Taxi.
Yeah.
But I didn't know any of this
Read the cards
that was going on. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, none of his closest friends or family could figure him out. So the fact that you had to try to figure out a character that nobody can figure out and then and then portray it as him is just amazing.
Even after he was dead, like half of his family didn't believe he was gone.
He might not be.
That's
the twist.
Who knows? But the thing is, he did transform himself. I'm not a Jim Carrey hater. I love
Jim Carrey.
It's
my childhood.
I don't understand. Like I was one of those, the media and his love life sometimes, I think maybe I don't really know that I think he's, that I've always thought he was a great person, but I don't think that's
I don't know anything about that.
He just gets real political about stuff. Like the whole Charlton Heston thing, I just thought that was in really poor taste.
He got a bad rap because he got a divorce kind of like as he was getting famous, but he had a daughter or whatever. Then he was in a long relationship with Lauren Holly from Dumb and Dumber. And then he was in a really long relationship with Jenny
McCarthy.
And and practically raised the autistic boy. And then after they broke up, had no contact there. But there's two sides to every story. Like, to me, that's super complicated.
So what years were those? Like, I was so young when these movies came out. I mean, you know, there's The Mask was one of my favorite movies. Pet Detectives was one of my favorite movies. Liar Liar was one of my favorite movies because I was freaking.
I loved Liar Liar.
I was 5. You know, like I mean, those movies
Liar
were
was
amazing.
great.
So I don't think I got any of the stuff that was
I
going
hated.
on like in the media and
Love
stuff.
The Mask. I didn't see Liar
Oh,
Liar.
I loved The Mask. I wanted to be Cameron Diaz when I grew up, and it didn't happen.
Guess which movie I can't. It hasn't been named yet. Guess which movie I can't watch because of anxiety.
Oh, let me think.
Yes, man.
Hasn't been named yet.
Is it one of that same era?
Yeah.
Not Batman.
No.
I liked him in that.
It's not Truman Show. Oh, Cable Guy.
Yep.
You can't watch Cable Guy.
Can't watch
That's
it.
that's like your algorithm for shit you can't watch.
Exactly. Can't do it.
Why? What's?
It's like that. What's
was a
it?
big
What's the
one for him,
movie?
too.
What's your other movie?
Like, what about Bob?
What About
Like,
Bob?
I can't
That's it.
stand like when somebody's ruining somebody else's life and the guy can't just go, "This is stupid," because this guy's fucking great. You know?
Yeah.
I can't fucking do
Oh,
it.
I loved Cable Guy. See, like I said,
Yeah.
and they were all kind of adult movies that I didn't understand, but I thought were awesome.
You
best-
didn't. You didn't really finish though. I'm sorry. I don't want to
Yeah, I'm
interrupt
sorry.
you, but I got to reel it in. Tell me. But what is it? I mean, why you? Is it because he recycles the same character over and over?
That's part of it. That's the problem I have with Will Ferrell too. Is he's just a one-trick pony, and it's on top of the fact that, and it's same with Will Ferrell. He's super political, and shoves that down everyone's throat every time he has a chance.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with your art.
But you're paying
and your-
too much attention to what is happening outside of what they're doing in movies, which is silly.
Well, it's the combination. It's like you are a one-trick pony. You do the same shtick every single time, and you're super political. That pisses me off. And so it's like I don't have time for that.
I don't think there's any difference in that than watching a stand-up comedian. They have their own characters, they do their own thing, and some of them preach their political stuff, some of them don't. I think when it comes to like
That's a very valid point.
Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, like those type of actors that are the same
Mhm.
character all the time, it's like watching a stand-up comedian. It's all about the delivery and the shit they're saying, but it's the same character every time.
George Carlin played this, evolved the same character for 40-something years and was very, political, anti-society and all of that, but
Yeah,
about a certain way of
That's
delivering.
George Carlin.
But that's what I'm saying. But that, and even then, he's at least putting it out there. I don't have a fucking clue what Will Ferrell's politics are. I have no idea. Why would I?
Because
He
he's
did a
comedian.
one-man show as George W. Bush
And that is awesome.
on Broadway.
Good.
Sure.
Yeah, totally great if it lines up with your politics.
I don't care
It
what lines
doesn't-
in my politics.
doesn't
We just went and
necessarily line
saw.
up
We
with
just
my
went and saw
politics.
Book of Mormon. That was the most offensive shit I've ever seen in my life. Guess what? It was amazing writing.
Yeah. No, I don't get it. I
Yeah,
mean,
if you can be a well-rounded thinker,
It
then you
just
can
gets
appreciate
old.
it.
It just gets old.
so you don't like Josh, what's his face, because he played W in the anti-George Bush film?
No, he's an actor. He's
Okay, but so is Will Ferrell.
that he did that just to be political.
But I consider that
Not
stand-up
because
comedy.
it was a movie that needed to be made or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like, but I think that, like I said, I think that is similar to.
It just
stand-up.
gets old. That's I'm saying. If someone does something like trust me, I have thick skin. I watch Saturday Night Live all the time. They make fun of my politics all the time. I'm fine with that. You know.
What's the
I'm
dude's
fine.
name? Is it Jim Jeffries? I don't.
Jim Jeffries is
Jim
the Australian
Jeffries.
one.
He's the Australian guy that's like really big atheist, right?
Very,
Talks about
very
all these crazy.
big anti-religion.
And I think that would be the same as watching a Will Ferrell, Broadway for 2 hours is like watching a Jim Jeffries stand-up special and listening to these horribly offensive things against Christianity. And like, I wouldn't be offended. I mean, I'm not going to get big into beliefs and stuff, but I wouldn't get offended watching it because it's comedy and it's brilliant
you said you
writing.
wouldn't get offended watching it.
I wouldn't.
Do you not watch it a lot?
No, I have watched it. I'm saying I watch that stuff
she's
all the
saying
time. I
that
like to
whether
watch.
or not whether she's not trying to put her beliefs out. She's
No.
just saying that's.
But I couldn't find like any type of comedian that I couldn't watch their special and be like, oh,
I'm just saying it
this
wears
is super
on me.
frustrating.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
At some point, I just throw my hands up and go, I'm done with this guy. I don't care about
I
him.
actually think that makes total sense. I mean, there's a few of the one-trick ponies that I like. Jason Lee is one of them. He plays exactly the same character in every single thing he fucking does, and
That's what do they call that? Character actor, where you're basically you have a style that you do.
That's him.
Isn't that what you just said?
And
You
that's
don't like-
fine. Vince Vaughn's like that. I
no,
love
that's
Vince
what I was.
Vaughn.
But I was gonna say Vince Vaughn plays exactly the same character.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
And Owen Wilson, who's in a bunch of Vince
Right.
Vaughn movies, he's exactly the same.
I
in
don't
every
want to
single-
see Vince Vaughn doing anything else.
No,
but
you
Vince
don't.
Vaughn.
And I don't
because
wanna
if
see
you
Will
did, it
Ferrell
wouldn't
doing
be
anything else.
believable. That's the thing. So that's why I think sometimes when comedians make the turn and they try to come back. So this reels it back into what I was saying
But
originally.
Vince Vaughn isn't over the top. like Jim Carrey. No,
he is.
No, he touches the top. He can reach up and touch it with his finger. Jim Carrey and Will Ferrell are so over the top.
They're over the top, silly because that's their thing.
That's what I'm saying. So he is not over the top.
So you're okay with people just having one thing. You just don't like the thing that they do.
Let's go back to movies Jaret can't watch. Swingers. Fucking that movie is so over the top. I would totally watch it again, but that movie gives me so much anxiety.
No, seriously,
it's fucked because he's such a fucking idiot.
Fucking stop calling her, leaving messages. God damn it!
I don't know. People like you're the reason that people come out with like serious movies. And they're trying to be comedians, and then they suck, and then it's disappointing.
Right. Well, that's what because
you're gonna have to sit through Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah, I mean, this is the
exactly.
thing.
That's your fault. People like you made that happen.
Captain's log, stardate 23.9, rounded off to the nearest decimal point. We've traveled back in time to save an ancient species from total annihilation. So far, no signs of aquatic life, but I'm going to find it.
Just random Star Trek impressions for no reason, and then just runs the gamut.
Ace, get out of the tank.
I just can't do it, Captain. I don't have the power.
And it just keeps going.
This is my favorite.
For God's sakes, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a pool man.
Okay, things that I say all the time.
That's one.
I actually say this all the time.
Jim, I'm not a doctor. I
don't say Jim. I just say I'm a doctor, not a pool man. I say that all the time. That's one of my favorite quotes from any movie. That's just
definitely, as you're getting into this part, by the time we were watching this and we got to this part, this is at the point where I'm just laughing the whole time.
Right.
And then at this point, when I'm watching these kind of movies, I'm sorry again for clearing my throat so much, guys. I'm doing the best I can. But at this point, I wonder sometimes if Casey's laughing at me laughing or actually laughing at the movie.
I laugh at you laughing all the time.
But because I'm not really like a real big laugh at the TV guy, like all the time. Mm-hmm. And then when it happens, it's just over and over again.
Make any good collars lately, or were they leashes?
Such a terrible fucking joke. Like, didn't you want to punch him?
Yes, totally.
And then he fucking stomps on the roach, and you want to just be like, that's an insect, dipshit. Like.
Not an animal.
No, it's not. I mean, like, it's not like that the pet detective doesn't kill fleas and ticks, Like, this is fucking. And then just when he takes him down, it's just so glorious.
This just opens up the, like, oh, but he's kind of a badass thing. Like, this is where that all starts, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, at this point, he's not just a buffoon.
Yeah, there's like 3 different times where he like just straightens his shit out and shows him who he is, and then he goes back in character, and they're all like, what the fuck just happened? I love that.
Excuse me. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
God, this is not the time, Mace.
Years of doing this.
Okay, so
years.
Here is my take on the talking with your butt.
Do you have a mint?
I think I thought it was funny. I think I thought it was funny back then, but I didn't really think it was that funny.
Oh my God.
I think the dialogue is great, but I just really
he's talking
out of his ass.
Did I mention my brother was almost 9 when this came out? He talked out his ass at me. I mean,
because of this movie?
For years and years to come after that. Like, it was insane.
Let me ask you.
Sodomia!
Okay,
you did laugh at that one.
No, because I do admit, I have sung "O Solo Mio" a sodomy many, many times in my life. Have I sang that?
And you sang the less, sodomy version in Mexico whenever we won.
Oh, Solo! And then I had to hold the note out.
When we won Best Couple Puerto Vallarta 2016.
Look at
ever.
you guys.
Well, yeah.
They said ever 2016.
Well, first we had won Best Couple of the day, and then we started winning that thing from across the pool, and they were just like, we're just going to call you Best Couple Ever in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah. They said Best Couple Ever 2016, which was so funny because it's like ever this year.
Tom Ace. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Kemp. And congratulations on all your success. You smell terrific. I was just telling Melissa, one of the first lessons we learned back at
Stanford Law was the modern proliferation of food poisoning claims against wealthy private homeowners. In fact, if one were so inclined, one could make quite a lucrative law practice with little else. How is everybody feeling tonight?
It's so funny because they did pick the guy who would have made a great villain.
Right.
And then, like, as I'm watching it this time, I actually really kind of felt sorry for the guy.
He was oh my God, his facial expressions were amazing.
I mean, because if you were thinking of him as being like this evil guy, which I remember being.
You thought he was going to be.
So
he's just the sweetest rich guy ever.
And he just needs tranquility with these fish all the time. Right. And that's all he needs. And he's just worried about him in the bathroom and all this. Now, we did miss.
Yeah, one documentary about the conditions of his shark tank, then maybe shut down immediately.
Okay. Well, we did miss the trip to the nightclub where they go in and he's rocking out to Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah.
And then he just goes underground to the, I assume the club owner's dungeon.
Lair.
And down there is just the guy protecting fish all over the world for no reason.
I'm diverting these whaling ships.
Yeah, exactly. So
because that's how it works.
They're not going to find anything for thousands of miles. Well, can you still get into all the pet shops and blah, blah, like any feed supplies?
Right.
That was just so silly.
Like you said, nothing in the movie
is believable at all. I just thought the premise of that is like, who the fuck thought of, like, maybe they were just like, how are we fitting Cannibal Corpse into this movie?
Right.
We got to figure something out, guys.
Right.
And we need a scientist. Let's put him in the basement of the rock club.
And make him a long-haired hippie. Who
appears to be, he's kind of a Sonny Bono meets old Dio.
It's kind of like the lone gunman from X-Files.
But I did like the Tom Ace.
Tom Ace.
Excuse me, Ron. I need to use the bathroom. I think it's the pate.
Sure, it's over there.
Thanks. Stuff probably looks better on the way out, huh?
Oh, God.
So as he escapes through this bathroom window and goes on his mission.
Shimmies.
Snowflake. The action of Jim Carrey, this whole, just in the little small square that is just this area where he could have walked right over to the door and just went in, but instead
he swings,
jumps over the fence, almost falls off, jumps back over, sticks to the wall, goes over to the wall, swings back over, and then just right inside. So genius.
Yeah.
So genius. And then what I would consider the line of the movie, something I think all of us have said many, many, many times.
Especially you.
Especially me. And I have used this, in just so many different settings and still have never delivered it quite like this.
Do not go in there. Woo!
So good.
I have said
and
that.
And you have
several
all
times.
of the people just standing in line waiting to use the loo or whatever.
His pants are all ripped
pants
up.
are ripped.
Oh, God.
So how does he fall in a shark tank, get dragged around by a shark, and not have any visible...
he's a rich guy's shark. He probably had dull teeth, maybe.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
It's just so funny anyway. But the best is just as he's like in the water, it's not Snowflake. It's not Snowflake. It's not Snowflake. And then he just starts going side to side as if that's what would happen.
I'm not joking. I think after watching this movie, I think I have a lot of reoccurring nightmares that might have been formed because of this scene.
Really?
100%. I'm not even joking right now. Just because of that, like, little ledge he's on, this body of water, and he ends up in it. It's totally a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, a reoccurring from my childhood, always a scenario, pretty similar, only maybe no sharks. I think I just stray away from sharks even in my dreams.
We should also discuss the fact, though, that the tank is a certain size. And then Jaws comes out.
It's the size of this room.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, the Blackfish documentary team came in.
But fucking shark's head comes out, and it's a quarter the size of the tank. And it's just like, how the fuck would he?
Really deep.
Wouldn't he just be sticking up?
No, he had a tiny body. He just had a big head. You just couldn't tell yet.
I shouldn't have made fun of that.
Yeah,
He's
anyway.
a shark.
He was a dwarf shark.
Damn it.
Sorry, Mr. Ace. I have the plumbing checked immediately.
Be sure that you do. If I'd been drinking out of the toilet, I might have been killed.
Oh my God. So again,
the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, the bad guy, the guy who's set up polite. To be the bad guy is just the sweetest person in the world.
Very patient.
She's just trying to get him the fuck out of there. Like, what have I gotten myself into? So all of Courtney Cox, all of her role at this point really is just reacting to him. And she does it great, you know?
No, excellent, yeah.
And then as the guy's like saying, so sorry, he's like, if I had drank from it, I'd be killed. And then just all of a sudden he spots the ring. And then you see Ace Ventura just lose. It's like, what the fuck is he doing? And he's got the guy's poor arm. And the guy's on a walking stick anyway. He can't stand up. And he's just trying to rip the thing off and it falls down. And
the 1984 Dolphin AFC Championship ring. I find the ring with the missing stone. I find Snowflake.
And again, you see that he's a badass. He's so fucking observant.
Right.
That it's, you never saw him find the freaking missing stone in the filter, which would be fucking completely impossible.
Maybe not.
Oh, it would have been.
We watch a lot of Forensic Files. They find tiny stuff.
He wasn't in there very long. And the whole time he was doing Star Trek impressions.
That probably helps.
Yeah. Oh, you think it does? Yeah. Damn it, Doc. Oh, a stone.
Oh, there is just one more thing, Lieutenant. This woman is Roger Podacter's neighbor. She lives across the hall. She said she heard a scream. Is that right, ma'am?
Right.
And you said you had to open the balcony door when you keyed into the room?
Yeah, that's true.
You're certain you had to open this door?
Yeah, I'm certain.
What's the point, Ventura?
Only this. This is double pane soundproof glass. There's no way that neighbor could have heard Podacter scream on the way down with that door shut. The scream she heard came from inside this apartment before he was thrown over the balcony, and the murderer closed the door before he left. Yes! Yes!
Do you like that? Huh? Do you like it? Huh? Oh my God.
This house is clear.
This house is clear. I have exorcised the demon. Okay, back up. First of all, I've noticed this is the first time you've put Sean Young in the podcast.
Right.
Because you basically had to at this point.
Unfortunately.
Because she's so fucking terrible. But I'm glad you put that line.
Oof.
Oh, what's the point, Ventura? So terrible. So I will say that the sliding glass door trick was very common on Bowling for Soup tours for many, many years.
Is that what you were busting up laughing?
So I'm going to give a shout out to Greg Lobdell, the Ginger, who absolutely worshipped Jim Carrey and probably still does. But he can do that. Sorry, I'm a little snotty. We used to do that shit all the time. And then there's the whole, do you like that? Huh? Do ya? What a great scene.
Maybe you should have joined the police force. Become a real detective.
I don't do humans.
You really love animals, don't you?
If it gets cold enough.
Did you notice the Lethal Weapon soundtrack background music?
No, I didn't.
It's totally Lethal Weapon.
I did notice, though, that the soundtrack was well thought out to the whole freaking movie.
And Courtney Cox is totally fallen for him at this point.
Oh, yeah. You can see it. Well, and you can see that there's a thing about characters like this. Because let's go back to the Ginger, if we could. Greg is never serious. So he's like a walking cartoon. He is basically Ace Ventura light, kinda. And he managed to fall in love and have a family and be super happy. And it's just because you do eventually get little glimpses into the real person. It can be difficult to crack sometimes.
You could see it in the scene 100%. I mean, even just in he would kind of crack a joke and then he would go serious, and you could just see it in almost the muscles in his face is kind of what it was. He'd all the tension would kind of loosen up, and that's never, he'd kind of be he'd talk about something seriously, and then all the muscles would kind of tense up into this contorted, funny faces again. And that's when you could tell when he was serious. It's
even I Don't Do Humans is sort of is delivered in such a way of
you're kind of letting her in on some weird stuff about yourself. Yeah. But I don't know. I liked this scene because you could see that it was a character, not exactly how he was. It's kind of a defense mechanism and his own thing in his own world.
Well, and it also throws everybody off guard. It's like one of those things where you walk into the room in everybody's face all the time, then nobody really ever knows what to expect, and so you have the upper hand.
Yeah, and when they were in the pool at the very beginning, she's looking at him and yelling at him like, "You're a freaking idiot." Yeah. You know what I mean? And then now she watches him solve these cases, and she's turned on by the fact that he's actually super smart and great at what he does. And that was the attraction. That's where the attraction, I think, started.
Also, when someone says to you, and you're Ace Ventura, like as if you're a real person, you could be a real detective. A normal person normal person would be just like, fuck you, like what's a real detective? But he's just like, no, I don't do humans. You know? Like this is what I do.
Yeah, she's clearly been observing him this whole time, so she has to have been seeing these little glimpses of things. But this was a kind of I don't know, it was cool to me.
And I have to actually say that the plot of this movie, the storyline is actually really good. Like all the way up into when it just goes off the rails at the end. The actual story, there's a stolen mascot.
Yep.
They've got they drop the stone. He finds a stone. It's a stone from the Super Bowl ring. He goes to the rich millionaire who was purchasing the equipment that might be to hold the dolphin.
Yeah.
Like, this is actually a really good episode of a good mystery drama.
It's because it's already a story.
I was going to tell you this same thing, but literally the second you fucking see Dan Marino on the dock and the fucking right at that point, it's just like this not only is this ridiculous, but this kind of movie could not be made today. You couldn't have this where this
it has
whole
to be smarter than
scene
that,
happens. Like, for example, I was thinking about something so simple as this, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but when he knocks Einhorn into the water, and all of a sudden that's the end of that. That's everything's fine. I mean, no, that we've shut her down. Why wouldn't she just swim away?
It's a great storyline because it's like, okay, you think about it. You don't have to say like it's a stolen mascot. It's a stolen thing. It's a freelance detective on a case with regular detectives, and it's the whole thing. Then there's the rich guy and all this stuff. It's literally a really, really good detective movie, but like a Mad Libs version. Like instead, they were like a stolen jewel. They're like a stolen dolphin.
Casey just goes, and this is what I mean too by the doc story. It's just she phones it in on the phone. She's like, yeah, the kidnapper is Ace Ventura. Casey just goes, why wouldn't Dan Marino just go, no, it's not. He's right there.
Right. Is she going to kill Dan Marino too?
Well, I think what was going to happen, I realized later, was I think she was going to kill him and Dan Marino.
Yeah, I guess she would.
And then say, oh my gosh, I was attacked or whatever.
Like, and Ace Ventura killed Dan Marino. And
then I killed him.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that. I didn't mean to get us ahead, but I do agree. I think that the actual storyline plot thing, even up until where we are in the movie chronologically, is really
even
good.
the sex change. Even the sex change
that
is
could happen.
Plausible.
Yeah, sure.
It does happen.
Who the hell is that?
That's Ray Finkle, the kicker. Don't you know who Ray Finkle is?
No. We haven't heard him go, really?
Yeah. I may not have put
damn it. So good. No.
I did not know this until 2 days ago. But Ray Finkle, the picture, is actually Sean Young in a wig and a mustache.
Is it? So I wondered that. So I wondered when they show it at the parents' house, I think, was when I was wondering, like, God, is that? No, I guess it's when he's at the mental hospital or whatever, and he's just like, he's noticing the resemblance. And
right,
I'm
in
like,
the paper.
Is that supposed to be her?
Yeah, I mean, it actually was Sean Young just put on a mustache and a wig, and that was Ray Finkle.
Maybe she was that, and that was her. That was the best acting she did in the whole movie, as far as I'm concerned.
Being on a picture?
Yeah, and putting on the mustache and the wig. Yeah, that's the best that she did the whole fucking movie.
Hi, I'm looking for Ray Finkle. And a clean pair of shorts.
I love first of all, that's amazing, but just going up to the house and it's just this graffiti-ridden
piece of shit.
Oh, and just so sad. Yeah, the thing is that in all seriousness, I mean, the life of someone who blows a Super Bowl probably does suck for a while, but that's pretty fucking crazy. And in Brazil, they just fucking kill you. Like you just get off the plane. Actually, yes, there was a goalie. And it was either Brazil, I believe it was Brazil. It might have been Chile. So please, and I've said this before, don't fucking fact check me on this podcast. I don't fucking care. I'm just spitting out shit here. But there was a goalie who lost, got home, went to a nightclub, and they just fucking shot the shit out of him. Fucking killed him. By the way, that should be our fucking Jaret Goes to the Movies shirt. On the back, it just say, don't fucking fact check me.
So, and a clean pair of shorts. Oh
Yeah.
my God. That got me I watched it like 3 or 4 times. And, I would just be giggling.
I love the whole
And he
meeting.
almost gets hit right in the face
sure.
with that fucking. I was like, oh my God, he didn't move. And that shit was like right there.
I love the meeting with Ray Finkle's parents. I mean, I love the fact that the mom is just like, he'll be right home. And the dad's like, he's not coming home.
He's not.
But shout out to the Ginger, one of our most said little things for many, many years. Oh, look, they're little footballs. So fucking good. And she just goes,
so that's the Greg things. That's why you laughed at that part so hard, because you've heard that a bunch.
Oh yeah, they're little footballs. She goes, laces out. So good.
Ace, where are you?
I'm in Psychoville and Finkle's the mayor. Where's Dan Marino?
Reno, why?
Because he's about to join Snowflake. I've got to know where he is.
So here's one of the lines that you would only know if you watch this a bunch of times, and this is, to me, this is why Dumb and Dumber is so funny, because you miss these little lines like this. But he goes, I'm in Crazy Town and Finkle is the mayor, is the throwaway line here.
Right.
And that's fucking hilarious. We're going to have to do Dumb and Dumber on this podcast.
Sure.
But it's all those throwaway, and Jeff Daniels is so everything he says is so fucking like that.
What's the soup du jour?
Yes, it's the soup of the day.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
When I get out of that bathroom, you better be gone.
Is it number 1 or number 2? I just want to know how much time I have.
Fucking genius. By the way, we had a we used to.
And she's horrible.
We used to, yeah, she's the fucking worst. I didn't even and by the way, she didn't even go to the bathroom, and if she did, she didn't flush or wash her hands.
No, she went to the bathroom. You could hear her peeing standing up.
Maybe I missed that.
No, you could hear her peeing standing up.
I missed that. Your peas are so hard on that microphone, by the way. I'm wondering if maybe we should turn it sideways.
Peeing.
I thought you meant his peas, like you were miking
like
his
mine?
pee.
Oh, you mean like this? Like this?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Let me see. Check it.
Well, because you were telling me to get all up on it, and I shouldn't be up on it.
Well,
like
your peas are bad.
I'm peeing this way. Pee.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. All right. Here we go. This one.
She was peeing standing.
No. Okay. So I got myself out of breath on that. This isn't because of this movie, but this reminds me of this story. We used to tour this band called Beef Jerky all the time. We would tour around Texas, and of course there would always be an after party, and all of these dudes were like full on scammer motherfuckers all the time. Not all of them.
Girls scamming
yes,
on girls. Okay.
Yeah, they were out to get some vagina. And one day, the guitar player, I guess I won't name him here because he's still around.
His name is Brian.
No.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it is? Oh,
yeah.
Right. Yes.
Brian.
That's it.
And same conversation. This girl just goes, "Hey, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna run to the restroom real quick." And he just leans over as if he's being suave, and he just goes, "Number 1 or number 2?" This is the same guy who had the line when he would walk up to a girl at the bar and he'd go, Pantene?
That's actually good.
That's a not good.
That's a real good one.
I mean, it worked, I guess.
Come on, Pantene.
Your gun is digging into my hip.
What's wrong, Ace? Want me to read you your rights?
Maybe later.
No, I want you to take acting classes.
Yeah, well, also, I had not picked up on that part of it, I guess, because I didn't remember it, that she had a boner.
Oh,
I never picked up on it the first time, but I picked up on it immediately this time.
Yeah, this time for sure.
Oh, I didn't notice it. I didn't catch any of that stuff
before.
And did you know there was like 2 apples and a banana on her desk?
No. Yeah. Holy shit.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna execute a button hook pattern super slow mo.
This character is so fucking good.
Yeah, the tutu. It's basically the kind of the woman bodybuilder character a little bit.
It is kind of that. Yeah, I forgot it from In Living Color. So the I do have to give a shout out though. We this Halloween we spent with our neighbors Matt and Megan, and they dressed up as Ace Ventura. He was Ace Ventura in this character, and she's Ace Ventura
in his first like real character
sort of outfit or whatever. And anyway, we're gonna post a picture on our Facebook page of the two of them dressed up because it is freaking hilarious. Anyway, check out the Facebook page to see Megan and Matt dressed up as two forms of Ace Ventura. But this whole vignette, you almost get a little side movie for a second because he gets to do a whole new bit, you know?
He does the football thing, and then he like slams his head into the bench.
That's it. Einhorn is Finkle. Finkle is Einhorn. Einhorn is a man. Oh my God! Einhorn is a man.
He goes into the bathroom and plunges his mouth.
Oh, I mean the toothpaste, the plunger, the vomiting though with like the cat back happening like as he's doing it, and then just the collapse into the bathtub as though he's just washing everything bad away from his life.
If Jaret showered that heavily every time he kissed a boy, he'd probably early to mid 20s, he'd never have to shower again.
Yeah, you're probably right, actually.
I know.
I kissed Repeat on this tour, and
Pete and Repeat went to the store. Pete came out. Who was left?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the band Lacey.
Why'd you kiss Repeat?
Because he asked me to.
He's a cutie. I get it. Well, from now on, I'm kissing every boy you kiss.
That's not fucking fair. Okay, from now on, I get to see every girl naked. You see naked.
Okay, I'll send you the Snapchat of Sam's vagina later.
Does it look like Hope Solo's vagina? Because you can just skip that.
No, she'll send it to you. I'll just give you her name.
No, if you didn't like Hope Solo's vagina, I forgot where we ended on that. There's a lot of stuff going on down there.
Am I allowed to say? Am I being insensitive again?
No, you're not being insensitive if you just describe the vagina. I mean,
you're being insensitive to me since we almost broke up over that vagina.
It looks like two MMA fighters' ears put up next to each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
By the way, I just fucking made that up, and I guarantee I'm the first person ever to say that, and that shit was fucking hilarious.
Are you going to not put it in, save it, put it in your pocket for like a rainy day?
100%. Take it out. I'm going to say it when people fucking are actually listening to this shit.
I know you. That's hilarious.
I just think it's funny that you actually know what MMA fighters' ears look like now.
Cauliflower ear.
Yeah, cauliflower ear.
Yeah. We didn't talk about Courtney Cox in that black dress.
We did not talk about Courtney Cox in the black dress. What would you like to say about that? She was really dressed up really nice. What? No. I think she looks good all the time. What?
No, it's just like the sensitivity podcast. That's fine.
There's no sensitivity going on.
Yeah, I just stumbled over my. I just stumbled over my word.
Fucking amazingly hot.
Don't get a fucking rape joke declined and then fucking get all goddamn hypersensitive and shit.
What a rape joke?
I'm just afraid now my dad's listening, since apparently he's offended by things.
All right, everybody stop with the reactionary bullshit. Courtney Cox looked good in the fucking black dress.
Oh my
Courtney
God,
Cox
she
looks good in everything.
So good in that dress.
She just has perfect tiny girl form.
I think she also has like a
odd
cool
body though.
I think she has a. I don't
think so at all.
I can't honestly say what her body looks like. I just think she has a cool face. Like she just has a nice features.
Yeah, I think she's beautiful.
Yeah,
I think
me too.
Oh, I think she's gorgeous. But
did you think she was
she
gorgeous?
has an odd shape. There's something odd.
No, you just like big boobs, Rich. That's not
Did you
an
think
odd
she was
shape.
gorgeous in the Bruce Springsteen video?
No, not at all.
Did you think in the Bruce Springsteen video that he actually pulled a random girl up on stage?
I did.
I did too.
And then I thought she got famous and got on Friends. So Einhorn is Finkle.
Finkle is Einhorn.
Did you know Einhorn is German for unicorn, which is a horse with one horn?
I did know the part about the horse with one horn part.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I did know that.
Why did you know that?
Because a unicorn is pretty
I knew
much
what a unicorn
ridiculous.
was, yeah.
Oh, Einhorn. Okay.
But he was saying that he knew the half about the unicorn is a horse with a
So
horn.
Einhorn means, but isn't Eins?
Ein is a horn.
A horn, Einhorn.
Yeah.
Got it.
But Germans are very literal.
So in all of the Eastern European, like Northern Asian languages, they leave out throwaway words like a and the. So this girl I used to know was dating this Russian guy. He would just say, "Hand me remote," because the word "the" doesn't fucking exist.
Yeah, right.
What you wouldn't read about is how Ray Finkle lost his mind, was committed to a mental hospital only to escape and join the police force under the assumed identity of a missing hiker, manipulating his way to the top in a diabolical scheme to get even with Dan Marino, whom he blamed for the entire thing.
I love the one breath crime explanations because this is the second one.
You know, that's how I fucking talk. I run out of breath all the goddamn time.
Really?
Have you not heard it on
That's
the podcast?
That's a fucking Chris Bernie
I notice
thing.
that all the time on the podcast when I listen back and I'm editing and stuff. I'm like, I'll talk, and then I'm just I run out of fucking breath.
Really?
Yes, I always do
I
that.
think about my pause, I think.
No, you're a pro. You talk for a living. You do the Eminem guy, or not the
Eminem guy.
The C guy.
The what?
I'm trying not to say your day job.
Okay, my day job guy. Okay,
I said Mickey Mouse on accident. That's the Eminem.
You know whenever you're Eminem when you're not here?
I was like, I'm not the Eminem.
You were in 8 Mile, right?
I was sitting here thinking, they said we give a message to all of our fans. Like, I thought you were talking about an actual Eminem.
No, when you're not here and you're Slim Shady.
So you're a pro. I mean, obviously you know where to, like, you think about where to stop and take a breath and start. And singing, that helps as well, because you have to, have to.
Yeah.
And I'm really bad about that singing. I won't breathe and I'll just run out of breath at the end of the line.
Sure.
Yeah. So
it's all about you. In singing, you have to hold like a certain amount of oxygen in there all the time, and then sort of get it on. But in between the times, you have to get it all out of there and put it back in, because it all turns into carbon. It's science. I mean, it's my job, but it's boring.
I have asthma.
If the lieutenant is indeed a woman, as she claims to be, then, my friend, she is suffering from the worst case of hemorrhoids I have ever seen! That's why Roger Podacter is dead! He found Captain Winky!
that penis was really long, because that's wrapped around the
Yeah,
underneath.
you can tape it real
and
tight.
out the back.
Yeah, you got to get it back to. But I mean,
And
like,
it's
I
not.
think you
It's
can,
flaccid.
I think you can kind of train it to do that. I mean, but that's
Flaccid?
That's what and that's the thing too. When they do that in Thailand, they put it up their butt so they can't see it from the back.
Yeah, there's like a tucking taping process, like up their butt, but
They put it up
there.
No,
No,
it's like
inside
in that,
their butt.
in that, like
You
their butt
can't-
crack.
between
in their
the
butt
cheeks.
crack. Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and
Between
they
the
like
cheek.
tape it real tight. It makes
between the cheek and gum, like sunflower seeds.
It did inspire me to do a very, very close shot of it, and then just paint an abstract portrait and call it Mr. Winky.
That's genius.
And that's gonna be for your room.
Oh,
Yes, I'll take it.
And you tell people it's a Star Wars abstract, like you wanted.
Right. It's a stormtrooper.
so you told me not to tell you your job anymore. So I did, but I wanted
Yeah,
to
but that
tell
never
you.
stops you.
But I'm trying, because
just kidding. I
all
don't
the
care.
hate when we first walk in here now. It's just I feel like now it's like sort of like not even a shtick. It's like
I'm never serious when
now
I
we
say
fucking
that.
hate each other and stuff. But that's cool. I mean, it's just weird. The exchange when she goes, you know what? I'm not even going to talk to you. Would you please leave? He goes, why? So you can beat him?
Yeah, so you can beat
That
him.
was
And
it.
then fatty, she goes, you're unbelievable. Hiring you was the biggest mistake I ever made. And he goes, well, why don't you cry about it? Saddlebags.
And then he goes, you like her, huh?
Yeah, you really like her.
she's all right.
And then we
Melissa.
then we find out for the third or
Podacter
fourth
was
time.
good.
No, but the third or fourth time we find out that he cannot not say sorry like a Canadian.
Yes, I noticed that too.
That's the
right
one-
in that
that's the-
scene.
So it's
Is he Canadian?
He's Canadian, and
Yeah.
that's
How
the
did I know
one.
that?
That's the one thing that he hasn't figured out yet is just sorry.
But he has probably said.
You know what? But Michael J. Fox has the same one. He does the sorry as well. So
Yeah.
Well, they never said where he's from. He
Fucking
can say whatever he wants.
Canadians. No offense to you Canadians, but fuck that.
Man, guys, I thought Ace Ventura was a breath of fresh air. It was actually a 90s movie that, oh man, it's actually...
I'm so glad to be in the 90s.
It's aged so well. It's
Yeah.
still
No, it totally
funny.
held up.
I mean,
Totally held up.
You know, I see this one holding up for much longer. I mean, there's a little bit of hilarity in like just the cell phone thing, and you know, there's some technology stuff on there that sometimes I think, you know, like kids, you know what I mean, like younger people might not fucking get it. But man, this is a funny fucking movie with a funny fucking character, and just Jim Carrey at his best, man.
Yeah.
Coming out of that In Living Color.
Oh, so you agree that this is his best movie?
I said at his best. I didn't say his best movie. I do love it, man. I do. I think Quotability wise, I would have to go with Dumb and Dumber. But again, I think this one is fucking great, and I'm really glad we watched it this week. I think the conversation though between Ace and Dan Marino sums it up, where he just goes, "Hey Ace, yeah Dan, you got any more of that gum? That's none of your damn business, and I thank you for staying out of my personal affairs. You're a weird guy, Ace, a weird guy." And I feel like that's the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, he's a weird guy.
Unfortunately, the Dolphins did not win a Super Bowl with Dan Marino in real life.
They didn't?
They did not. They actually had a perfect season back before with Don Shula. It was good to see Don Shula in the movie.
Love Don Shula.
And but no, are you being silly?
A little bit.
But here's the thing, like
I did.
Sometimes when you go off on some of the things that you like, I don't fucking like just sabotage it. And plus, my name's still on the fucking podcast.
I actually did like
and Jaret's
Dan
editing
Marino
this
a
week.
lot.
Yeah, so let me
I appreciated Don Shula.
Let me talk about some fucking sports shit from time to time without being a dick.
You know what I didn't pick up on ever until this one was that the dolphin was told to do the kick on Finkle's number.
Yes, great. And you're right. And he makes it. And Finkle
and he
didn't.
makes it and Finkle didn't.
Yeah.
And a dolphin can.
Yeah.
This little,
oh, yeah, that's very observant.
I never picked that up. In the beginning, they say, like, they call out a number and he hits the field goal.
Right.
Oh,
and then in the end, he says something to him about and about that offended him greatly or something like that.
Yeah.
But I never put it together ever watching this movie over the years.
You know, really cool. Well, a great movie and a great podcast. This was Rich's idea, and Rich, more power to you, man. Fucking, this will be the only movie you get to pick this year, so I hope you're happy. And of course, I'm kidding. Casey, thank you for being here. And
we're doing Goodfellas next week.
Goodfellas next week. Woo, man. That might be a two-parter. I'm going to be honest. It's a lot to talk about on that one. If you have suggestions for movies, why not check out the Facebook at Jaret Goes to the Movies. You can just search it on Facebook.
Should we start doing that?
What's that?
Asking for suggestions.
Yeah, we'll take suggestions. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to use them, but I like suggestions. I honestly, I think that we need to also dig a little deeper sometimes. I think it'd be cool to do like Blues Brothers, or maybe let's do fucking something from this, like an old Clint Eastwood movie or something. You know, like let's spread it around.
Or a new
but also
Scott
new
Eastwood
shit too.
Let's talk about that in the after show. So let's wrap it up.
We'll talk about it. All right, so we're going to wrap this one up. Hey, guys, my name is Jaret. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Jaret2113. But also, check out our Patreon site where at Jaret Goes to the Movies or Car Sick Fat Kid, you can actually get a bunch more content there than you do here and help the cause a little bit. I want to thank Rich for keeping this whole show going the whole time I was in the United Kingdom, and for being awesome as always, and for always responding back to my emails with a fucking chip on his shoulder. It's fucking great to be partners with Rich. What, you got any plugs for us today?
Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Jaret Goes to the Movies, Twitter at Jaret Movies, again, patreon.com, just search for Jaret Goes to the Movies, or just go to our website, jaretgoestothemovies.com, and click on